Hello people and welcome to my first tutorial. Alright, what are we going to cover in this? We're going to be making a 2D side-scroller game based on Santa Claus. Now in this tutorial, I don't expect you to have ever used Unity. So if you want to know what the workflow is like in Unity making a game, then this video is made for you. Alright, first off, we're going to be covering how to animate your character. In this case, it's going to be Santa Claus. We're also going to be covering animations, and we're going to be doing adding some game objects and a simple level that our character can move in. This is just going to be very basic, and once these first elements are created, you're going to be able to play the game and make more levels. We're also going to have two game objects inside the game, which is going to be a ladder that Santa Claus is going to be able to climb, and a spring that when he touches it, he's going to jump up in the air. That's going to give you guys an example of like how to add game objects. You can add coins, you can add many things, and it's the same way. All right, first off, let's open up Unity and create a new project. Now this game is already pretty much finished. You can go and download it on the Android store. You can find the link down at the description. Okay, so we're going to be creating a 2D project. Let's call it Santa game. Okay, let's create. Okay, now we have our assets. Our assets are, okay, let's find our assets. Okay, we have all our assets here. Again, you're gonna find the link in the description. This is the animations for Santa. There's like the death, when he dies, the idle position, running, sliding. So this is what we're gonna be using to animate it, and you can see it's already done for us. You just have to add it. Okay, while our project is getting built, we wait. Alright guys, our project is loaded. Okay, let's import the assets let's create a folder here. Okay, here on the left side is all the game objects that are inside our scene right now. So right now we only have a camera. Here is the folder where all our assets are at. Here's just the options, the way we can configure. Okay, so let's create a folder called sprites and import Santa, all the animations into this folder right now. Okay. So let's get Santa, spring, the tiles, the background, and the ladder. Let's get everything. Just drag it over. Great, all our images are imported. Okay, let's get the Santa idle, his first idle position, and drag it here. Just put it right there for right now. Okay, and then let's add a tile, a ground floor where he's gonna be moving. Okay, now this is only a tile, so we need to make it, instead of the draw mode, put tiled. Okay, now in order to get rid of this error, we have to change this to full rectangle. Okay, now let's make the width bigger. So we're just tiling it. Great. Let's make it 30. 30 is good. 30 is good. Let's put it in here. Okay. Okay, that's how it's looking. Let's move it a little bit down. Okay, just a little bit more down. And just a little bit more. Okay, so if we hit run right now, at least we get Santa and we get the ground. This is, at least we got something appearing on the screen. Now let's animate Santa. Let's add some animations to him. Okay, first of all, let's move him down to the ground. Okay, change his zero. Change the Z of the ground to 1, and okay, so he's in the front of the ground now. Okay. Okay, let's give Santa the idle cycle in the animation. Go to Window, Animation, click Animation. Okay, here, let's create a new one. And we're gonna call it Santa idle. You're gonna see how easy this is. Here you have you can hit record and do all kinds of animations. What we're gonna do is go to Santa, find the idle animation. It goes from here to here, select them all, and just drag it over here. So we have, what is it, 14 frames? 14 frames, and if you hit the play button, you're gonna be you're able to see Santa animate, and it's going pretty fast. So we can slow this down. So we already got Santa animating the idle cycle. Great. Let's close this. I don't know why we saved it here. Let's move this. Let's create a folder animations. This is where all our animations are gonna go in. Let's move it there. Okay. Okay, so when you create an animation, Unity creates the animator. Every object has one animator, and here's the animation. So if you if you double click the animator, go to Santa. This is the animation we created. We can change the speed of it by here. So right now it's going really fast. Let's half it, 0.5. Okay, play. Okay, so we have an animating Santa, and it's going. It seems like the speed is going well. Like if it was 1, it would be going really fast. That's not what we want. Okay, so 0.5 looks good. Okay, now we need to make Santa move left and right. So let's program Santa now. But before we do that, we need to give him, I'm gonna rename him Santa. Ground. We're gonna add a component. This is what makes Unity so powerful. So we're gonna add a physics 2D. We're gonna give him a box collider. that's gonna allow him to collide with different objects, and we're gonna give him a rigid body. Rigid body allows him to interact with physics. Okay, rigid body 2D, rigid body 2D. Great. We're not gonna mess with the mask right now. Okay, now our collider is this green line here. We need to edit it so that it fits. Our sprite image is a little bit bigger than, so we're gonna edit it manually. Okay, let's make the feet where it collides with. Okay, let's save it. Now let's move Santa a little bit up so you can see. Now he's gonna fall down. He falls down and he goes right through the ground. You saw that? Okay, that's not good. So let's add a box collider to the ground too. It doesn't need to get a rigid body, just a box collider. Now we need to check auto tiling because this is a tile. Right now the collider is only inside this little square, so if you hit auto tiling, it fits the whole thing. Great. So now Santa is hitting the ground and he's not going through it, but he doesn't move right now. So let's add some movement. Also, before we do that, let's restrict Santa's rotation. Let's put a constraint so that he can't rotate up along the z-axis. Okay, now let's create a new script. Let's create a new folder. Call it scripts. Let's create a new script. Let's call it Santa script. Great. Okay, now we need to add this script to Santa. So let's select Santa, go down here, add component. Unity uses a component-based system. That means that for every object, you can add components to them. And a script is a component that you program yourself. So every frame, your component is going to get called. That's how you check for collisions. That's how you make the objects move. That's how you create effects. So every object that you add to Unity, it's going to have its own component. So you can have the enemy component. Enemy behaves a certain way. Santa behaves a certain way. If you give Santa a gun, which we're going to be doing later, if you download the game, you're going to be able to see that he has a gun. That's what makes Unity so powerful. Man, what the fuck am I saying? Alright, so let's add this new script, Santa script. Let's go into it. Now we're going to be getting user input. If the user presses A, we're going to move Santa left, the A, S, D, W keys. If the user presses A left, W up, S down, but we're not going to really use it, and the D is going to go right. I don't know on your computer, but on my computer it takes a long time for Microsoft Visual Studio to load. Then again, I have a 5-year-old computer. Alright. For those of you that are familiar, you don't have to have any programming experience. If you just tag along, if you have any object-oriented experience, you're gonna see that this is like our constructor. Oh, it's not the constructor, but it is like called the first time. Update is called every frame. There's other updates, but we're not gonna worry about them right now. Okay. Let's go inside the update function, and let's start checking for input. Okay, if they press A, we're gonna go to the left. If they press D, we're gonna go to the right. So since the script is attached to Santa, we inherit all his data, like the transform variable, that we can move Santa. Input is like global, so all right. So D, okay, W for up and S for down. So we have our functions already set up, and we just need to, okay, let's add some variables. Float, move speed. This is gonna hold whether we're gonna move, and okay, walk speed equals 2, let's say 1.1, and let's say run speed. Now depending on what the user is pressing, we're gonna be using the shift function as a modifier that's gonna double their speed. So he's gonna go from the walking motion to like the running motion. So right now, okay, so if they press A, move speed equals walk speed. Okay, transform, that translate. So we're gonna move him. Okay, now the X, so he's gonna be moving right, so it's negative move speed. We're not gonna move him along the Y nor the Z. Okay, now here we just take out the negative. So if the user presses A, we're gonna move speed negative. If they press D, we're gonna move them to the right, positive. Okay, let's save it and run. Let's run it. So you see, if I press A, if I press D, he goes to the right. If I press A, he goes to the left. Now, when we need to make him face the right direction, so we can do that by scaling him to the negative, right? So let's go back to our script. All right, let's go back to our script. Okay, first of all, let's see the scale. Okay, scale 1. Let's make Santa face the right direction. Transform that local scale. Okay, so if you press A, you scale them along the x-axis, make it negative. But if it's on, make it positive. That way, now he's gonna face the direction that he's walking in. I hope you guys are following along. That's how a game gets built. You start adding tiny little elements, and right now it's not a game, but it's starting to become a game. As you add more stuff, it becomes more professional. It starts to feel more like a game. Okay. So now he's moving, but we haven't added the walk animation yet. We're gonna be adding it pretty soon. Let's make Santa jump. So when they press W, Santa's gonna jump. Okay, here in the W key, how are we gonna make Santa jump? Well, since we have a rigid body attached to him, we can apply a certain force on Santa when the key is pressed. So let's put transform. But first we need to get the rigid body. So let's create a local variable. Let's call it RB on the start function. RB equals get component. Since it's already added it, we just need to get it. Let's get the rigid body. Okay, now RB on the rigid body, velocity. Oh my god. So velocity takes a vector 2, an x and a y. Okay, so let's create a new vector. Vector 2, x, we don't want, and y, let's give them like a 5. This is all we did to just add the jump. We just we're gonna change his velocity, his vertical velocity. Oh, let's see what happens. Great, oh wow, that's good. Whoa. The problem here is that you can have, while he's jumping, you can still press jump, so we don't want that to happen. But we'll fix that later. Now, let's go ahead and add another platform that he can jump onto. Let's duplicate this round. Control D. Let's call it platform. Okay, so we have now 2 platforms that Santa can jump onto. So now you can see that we have a game going on here right now. It's like not very functional, but we got something going on here. Okay, let's bring it down a little bit. Okay, now let's make it so that when you press the shift button, Santa goes to running speed. Okay. Let's create a variable if they're holding shift. Bool is shift equals false. Okay. On top here, we're gonna add another if input get key left shift. If they're pressing the left shift button, is shift is true, else not true. So now we know if they're pressing shift or not. false. Now the move speed, so now here we're going to change this shift, run speed. This is just it's called a ternary operator. It's just an if and else. If they're pressing shift, go to the run speed, otherwise go to the walk speed. Same thing here on the bottom. Now, the move speed takes care of it, so I don't have to change anything here. That's why I created a separate variable. Okay, let's see. So when I press shift, you can see that he's going faster. Don't worry about the jump right now. We're gonna take care of that later. Now another thing that we need to implement is moving the camera. But we're gonna do that. We're not gonna do this in this video. Let's handle the walking and the running animations and the jumping. Select Santa, go back to the window, animation, click here and then create a new clip. Make sure we save it in the right spot, animations. Let's call it Santa Walk. Okay, let's get the beginning. Starts here and then ends here. We drag it up here. We're gonna change the speed later. Let's create a new one. Run. Santa run. Again, same thing. Copy the running from here. Here to here, drag it. And let's do the jump too. You can do all of them. Even if you're not gonna use them, it's good to have them ready, just in case later on you're gonna add some more functionality to the game. Now the secret to making games is not don't add every single feature that you want. Just focus on the right features, get the important features first. Otherwise, you're going to be spending years making a game, months and months making a game. Jump. Get the basic functionality going. That's the most important, because you don't want to be, especially nowadays where there's so many games out there. Okay, jump. If we hit play, we can see it. Jumping, running. No, it's going very fast. We're gonna change that soon. Walking. Okay. Now that we have our animations put here, let's go back to our animator. Here we have see, it created our animation states automatically for us. Okay. Now we're gonna need to add some parameters so that we know what to animate. Okay, I'll explain that right now. Like, what's gonna make us go from the idle position to the walk position? That's when his move speed is a certain speed. Now, in our script, we said .1. And running speed is .2. So let's add parameters. Let's add some parameters right now. Let's call it float and speed. Let's add, you can add like a boolean, like it's dead. Okay, so for right now, speed. Let's just keep speed. Let's make a transition from idle to walk. This is where it seems complicated at first, but well, not even I know how to make it. Make transition to walk. Make transition to run. What's gonna activate this transition? We go down here in conditions. We add a new condition. We said that if the speed is, we know that point 1 is walking and point 2. So if the speed is less than 1.5, we're gonna go to this. Let's uncheck has exit time. Okay, now to go from walking to running, if the speed is greater than 1.5, which is 0.5, 0.15, not 1.5. Okay, and then now we're gonna make one. Now we need to make it, if he's walking, we need to transition back to zero. So let's make a transition back to idle, and here to back to idle. Let's make the transition back to walking. Okay, so if you're walking, okay, the condition is speed if it's less than that, if the speed is less than 0.5, then we're gonna go back to from running to walking if the speed is less than that 2. Okay, now we need to set these animator variables inside our scripts, because it's not gonna be handled automatically. Let's go back to Santa game. Let's get our animator now. We need to animator, same thing. All the components, you get them with get component. Animator. Okay, now our speed is set here. Now we need to, if you're pressing A and D, now we need to have another else statement to set the speed, move speed to 0. Okay, now here, now that we have our move speed with an animator, it starts looking complex, but it's not going to get any more complex than this. These are the only keys we're going to be handling. Okay, animator. Now set float, we're going to call it speed, and we're going to set it to move speed. Remember, speed is the variable that we created it. So when we set speed, our animator is going to move to the right transitions based on whatever input it gets. Okay, so let's test it and see if it's working. Okay, now there's something wrong. The animation keeps cycling. Okay, but walking is working. Running is working. But we gotta fix this. Why is this happening? Okay. Let's remove the loop time, because these are not going to loop. Let's see if that solves our problem. That did not solve anything. I think it's in our animator here. Speed is greater. Okay, there, we got it. Now you can see that when we stop pressing that he continues the animation, we need to set fixed duration to not. Okay. The walk. Nope, not a fixed duration. Nope. Nope. Okay, let's see. Okay, so now when we stop pressing, automatically it doesn't go through the whole animation cycle. Okay, we can keep jumping. Well guys, this is it for the first tutorial. Be sure to, if you want to see how this game progresses, like I said, it took me 1 month to make this game. So right now we've just been doing it for 30 minutes, and at least we got something done. We can create, at least you can create a little mini level in here and play with it. Maybe you don't want to have a Santa game. You can change the image or the animation. Well, we got plenty done in 30 minutes. We got the core of a 2D game working, and I hope you guys liked this tutorial. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like it, and I'll keep making some more. Thank you guys, and Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Peace.